Alright. Okie dokie. Alright, we are off. We are set and ready to go. Two of the top runners in pit percent going at it today. We have two matchups, two winner semifinals matchups. Castle versus Slopdop. Our other one is tomorrow, I believe. Stevie versus Teddy. Both matches are going to be incredible. And yeah, we just have like two top competitors here. It should be a lot of fun. Slopdop has had two matches, I think. Yeah, Slopdop's had two matches. He played TCB Trio round 1, and last round beat Phantom in round 2 to move on into this matchup. And Castle got a bye from round 1, and his match last week was against Cats Forever, in which he won. And listen, this should be a lot of fun. Castle in particular, let me check the PBs really quick. Castle is at second place with a 122.09, which is a crazy good time. And I have no doubt that he can pull out a time like that during any match in this tournament if pit percent plays in his favor. And Slopdop has a PB of 128.31, which I actually think Slopdop is capable of beating that pretty soon. He almost did in the last match, I believe, against Phantom. He almost beat his PB. And that PB was a former world record, like, back in 2019, I believe. Which is pretty cool. So we have two legendary pit runners, former world record holders in this category, going at it today, and it should be a fun one. And it looks to me like we are literally tied. Like we are pretty much neck and neck. Obviously, we are only 2 minutes into the run, and both runners are just going through prologue right now, but should be a fun one today. Also, I do have good news. They aren't approved yet, but I have finally, took me long enough to do this, but I have finally added emotes for this channel. There's going to be 3 main emotes, and then 1 animated emote. The 3 standard emotes are going to be temporary. I plan on like commissioning. I think I have an artist in mind where I'll probably get 3 separate emotes done. I'll come up with some ideas, make them SPM related, and just to put them on this channel. And the animated emote, if you guys like it, I'll probably keep it around. But yeah, so there is an incentive. I think we have a couple subs for this channel, so I wanted to add that. They have yet to be approved. I had them literally like 2 or 3 days ago, so Twitch is probably going to take forever, but that's alright. It's cool. I'm hoping they turn out well. Yeah, I can't stress enough, this match is going to be crazy. Both runners right now are just, once again, moving through prologue. They both got the first pure heart. I think the big thing for both of these runners, really, is going to be, at least the first big thing is going to be the 1-1 grind. It will obviously pretty much tell how they play the rest of their match. Whether they need extra points or whether they're, you know, they might get really lucky and get like a fast flower or a slow flower. We shall see. Oh, and I do want to give a shout out to Hydra King, who actually just won a match. I wasn't able to restream it because I wasn't home, but there's a match just before this, our final losers round 2 match, in which Manta Plant versus Hydra King. I believe Manta Plant game over. And Hydra King ended up finishing out to move on into the next round. So we have our next round set. Next week we should we should only have, I think, 3 matches. Actually, 2 or 3 matches going on next week. The winner's final matchup will have like a 2-week window to be completed, so we'll see how that goes along. Yeah, losers round 3. We have 2 matchups set. Soaring Sloth versus Hydra King, and Phantom versus Derek. Both of those matchups are going to be insane. And the loser of this match will be moving into the loser's bracket in round 4, and we'll play the winner of Sloth versus Hydra King, actually. So there's a lot going on. If anyone wants to look at the bracket, I can type bracket properly. There it is. So it is in chat right now for anyone who's interested. Tournament's moving along. We are, I think this is the final week of like 6 total matches. So hopefully I should be able to restream all of them for here on out. At least I'm gonna try to do that, because I have been missing out on a lot, but that's okay. So both runners are about to start 1-1. Still pretty even. I think Castle has a little bit of a lead here, though. Obviously, Castle is one of the best at text mashing, probably the best, arguably, ever in this game. And both runners are playing on English. I think Castle is on English, I assume he's on English 1.0. I think he got it, which is really cool. I don't anticipate that we're going to see any shenanigans going on in 1-2, but you never know. It really depends. Things can change at any moment. But yeah, this is 1-1. This is Lineland Road, the first level. There's a big squiglet grind that we're going to see here today. And it is going to pretty much determine if you're going to be behind on points or if you're set for the pit. Both runners are going to be looking to get at the least 25k points. Ideally, if you perform the grind very, very well, you can get around like 35 to 39k, depending on how well you do it. If you get to that point level, you should be set for the rest of the run, but the reason it matters so much is because once we get into the pit, there are 2 rooms early on, which are potential soft lock rooms, so you need to be at 60k level before room 25 and potentially room 19 if you get bad RNG. So we will be keeping an eye out for that. Both these runners, though, are very experienced, so I don't think we'll be seeing too much of an issue on that. Both these runners just got the ability to flip in 3D from Bastovius. They're going to flip in 3D in his house and pick up a Fire Burst, a Shell Shock, and a Shroom Shake. The Shroom Shake is pretty helpful just because it's a heal. The Shell Shock will be used in room 89 most likely, and the Fire Burst is used in the Enter 2 cutscene. Both these runners kicking the shell. Slopdop did get a Turtley Leaf drop. However, the Turtley Leaf is not totally ideal to pick up, so not going to worry about it. We will be seeing item drops all throughout this run. In the pit, we kill a vast number of enemies, so we are bound to see plenty of item drops all throughout the run. I'll give a quick refresh on Slop screen, and we are getting to it. This is the 1-1 grind. There's like 30 squiglets there. Castle gets a fast flower. He's going to take it. Go for it. I think he got a fast flower in his last match, too. He's trying his best. I think he might be able to get to... Oh, okay. He's at 23. This is definitely not ideal. Slop did not get the fast flower. Castle is going to be way ahead. Ooh, okay, Slot must have fell off too. Alright, well, you know, commentator just screwing over both runners, just with a casual commentator's curse. Looks like we might be seeing a little bit of trouble for both of these runners here. I said earlier that ideally you want to get to 25k. Now, the run is not over yet. There's plenty of enemies in the pit. I imagine that both these runners will be fine. They'll level up. But you're probably going to see them pick up a couple extra heals here and there. For example, at the start of 1-2, there is a shroom that ideally, I believe, both runners are going to pick up. There's just a couple things like that, a couple extra enemies to kill, just to gain on points. Castle is ahead of his PB, though. So it was fast. Again, the fast flower does save a lot of time. Obviously, just because you move so fast. And the reason it's ideal is you actually get triple the amount of points per every hit. So if you were to do the fast flower perfectly, like you were able to kill every single squiglet, you could actually get up to like 90k, which is insane. But it is, as you saw, it's extremely difficult to control. It can be very, very inconsistent, even for high-level runners. However, Castle will take this lead into 1-2. I mentioned earlier I don't think we're going to be seeing any shenanigans going on in this level, but I could always be proven wrong. Looks like for coin count, Slopdop is at 16, Castle's at 15. I think Castle is going to skip the shop unless he decides to go to GBS. And I think Slopdop might be doing the same. I think that was what happened in the last match. But you never know. So this level has a trick known as Green Bridge Skip. We've talked about it a lot on this channel. We've seen it a couple times during this tournament, but there's a method to do it with a life shroom. But ideally, if you see it done during pit, you're more than likely going to see the frame walk method, in which there's a really, really insane setup, and then you have to press down left. I think it's down left for 1 frame, and then up for 4 frames. There's also a little RNG involved. It's pretty irritating, and it looks pretty much... It looks very difficult, and it is very difficult. So, we'll see, though. Yeah, Castle is going to skip the shop. We'll pick up that extra shroom. I doubt that we're going to see it from either runner today. I don't know if we'll see it for the rest of this tournament, actually. Unless we are in a scenario, maybe like in grand finals, where, you know, one runner feels like they absolutely need it as an advantage. But both runners are going to be skipping the shop here. So, the 1-2 shop, we've seen some runners enter it just to be absolutely safe. It's the cheapest shop in the game, so you can get shroom shakes and fire bursts. You can get a lot of items early on if you get coins, but it is slow. It's a little slower, but you're obviously sacrificing heals in the pit. So if you play things a little too risky, if the pit sort of messes with you in a bad way, you may end up without a heal to use, so you may end up having to play like super, super safe. It's really a gamble, but once again, we are watching both of these runners who are top contenders in pit, so it should be a lot of fun. Alrighty, so this process that you just saw, both runners have obtained the first pixel of the game. We're only going to see 3 pixels in this run. Throw is pretty useful. You can basically pick up certain objects, certain enemies, certain items. Enemies that have a spike on their head you can't pick up, but you can essentially hold them above Mario's head and then throw them. It's pretty useful for completing puzzles. We might see it in the pit It could be useful at some points. But for the most part, the pixel that we're going to see the most is Boomer, who is extremely useful. It's going to be the second pixel we end up getting in this run. Alrighty, so both runners are in 1-3 here. We're going to see a little bit of a grind once again. Both runners are just going to be picking up 3 separate items, one of which being a fast flower, killing a couple enemies. It's a great way to collect coins as well. So Castle is at 39k. Slop will probably be right around the same. Okay, it'll hit 40k. Castle's gonna get a level up at 40k. Plus 203. You love to see the GBS time save. Both runners are picking up this squig, tossing it onto this trampoline, and just bouncing off the coconut shoots to get across this gap. It's much faster than the cutscene. Slop is actually going to grab that shroom right there, kill those enemies, just to get a couple extra points. Which should be good. I think it's going to be close for both runners, but I think they'll get it. I think the biggest strat that we'll see, more than likely we'll see, is both runners are going to be killing a couple extra enemies in pit in the first couple of rooms, just because you know, there's certain enemies like Sproings where you can chain some level ups and stuff. So hopefully the soft locking will not be an issue. I doubt it. Once again, both these runners are extremely experienced. Slop got a little close to the chunk soft lock, but thankfully we're not going to see it. Yeah, that is true. So both of them are running on English. Also, that O-chunk strat right there gave both runners a lot of points. Just being able to chain a bunch of jumps on his head without falling down can give you a decent amount of points as well. So good job by both runners. Castle is doing the star block clip at the end of 1-3 here. Almost gets it. There is a tiny little platform that you can walk on. And just by continuing to hold up and then flipping, you can jump right into the star block. Slopdop unfortunately did not get Ice Turbo skip there. It's a little bit of a difficult trick. So yeah, Castle is into 1-4. And to mention, both runners are playing on English and not the Japanese version. Yes, JCR did forget the prediction, like a true restreamer. I could do one, honestly, because I still think it's going to be close. I'll make it only like 5 minutes, though, because we are a little further along. I'll make it like a 5-minute prediction. There we go. So if anyone wants to get their predictions in, I know it's already started, but even though Castle is a little bit ahead of Slopdop, the pit is still unpredictable. It's still going to be anyone's match, depending on how RNG goes. Either way, you never know. So if anyone wants to predict, you can. Both runners are in 1-4. Castle said he's good on points. I think Slopdop is also good on points for the rest of this run, so it's really a good example of, you know, you can have a pretty meh 1-1 grind, but you'll still end up being okay. Castle is going for key early here, which is this trick in 1-4, where you do a corner clip out of bounds, do some neat 3D maneuvering to get behind the brown blocks there and collect the key that is loaded in. So you don't need to go into that whole separate room there. Very nicely done. That trick is way, way harder than it looks. Slop will be going into this room, opting out of key early. So key early, doing it well, saves like, depending on how well you do it, it can be a 20 to 15 second time save. Slopdop actually got that really cool switch hit that we don't often see anymore. So that's really awesome to see. Alright, cool. We got bets in on both runners. So yeah, that prediction is going to be open for like a couple more minutes. If anyone wants to get in, this should be a really fun match. So Castle now has a pretty decent lead over Slopdop, actually. Key early time save, and obviously just in general, Castle is playing very, very well, with very, very clean movement, and it shows. Alright, Castle's going to be going into the Fractal fight. This is the second of 3 boss fights in this game. We're technically going to see this fight 2 times. There is a carbon copy placed at the end of the pit, called Ractail, which is a little bit more difficult. You have to get 10 hits on the antenna instead of 3. But yeah. We got about the last minute or so for predictions, if anyone wants to get them in, last call. Also, for those of you who weren't here, I did mention earlier in the stream, we're going to be having emotes on this channel pretty soon. I'm going to get some commissioned as well. So it should be fun. We should have, when they get approved, it's been like 2 days, but Twitch takes a little while. We're going to have 1 animated emote and 3 standard emotes. And the 3 standard emotes will probably just be temporary. And I'll get some commissioned emotes that'll look really cool. So it should be fun. Yeah, we're going to see some SPM-themed emotes pretty soon. Once Twitch actually verifies. It might be like a week from now, I have no idea. So Castle is going for the flip strat here on Fragtail. Those of you who don't know, you can actually flip. Oh, he almost got it. He's going to go for it again, but by jumping from Fragtail's tail and then back onto his head, you can skip that 40-second cutscene that you watch at the beginning of the fight. This flip strat, though, is a little particular, but it skips having to wait for more enemies to spawn. Looks like he gets it the second try, yeah. Very nice. And that does save a lot of time. It really does. So Slopdop is at the beginning of the fight, and Castle is heading out. Going to start the Enter 2 cutscene. A very solid Chapter 1 from Castle, honestly. That was really good. He was actually ahead of his PvE after 1-1 because of the fast flower, I believe. Which is cool. Oh, also, if anyone has any ideas for emotes that you think would look good, let me know. I've been trying to think of some. I have, like, one idea, but I am open to any suggestions. Whatever you guys want, really. We have a couple subs right now, so I figured it's a good time to add emotes if anyone would like to, but obviously no subbing is required. Only for those who want to. Slopdop gets the jump 2 times. And that will be the Fractal fight there. At least I think it's 2 times. Okay, yeah. So really solid Chapter 1 for both runners there. And we are heading into the pre-Chapter 2 or Enter 2 cutscene. So during the little chapter intermissions, there's typically a lot of different sidetracking, little side quests that we have to go through. Unfortunately, the longest one, we're only going to be seeing one of these in the run, and it's the longest one of the game. At least I believe. So this cutscene that you see on Castle screen here is a Peach cutscene in Complex Castle. It's not apparent early on, but we're actually in 8-1 right now, which is pretty cool. We can't do too much, but there is a pretty game-breaking sequence break here. It's not possible yet, but it might be one day, and if it is, it'll save time for a lot of different categories. At the end of this cutscene, Peach is actually going to be teleported back to, or rather, going to be teleported to Flipside, and she's going to be added into our party. Yeah, yeah, that is true. We are in a very, very limited state here, where we can only, like, we can't even pause, can't do anything. It would probably have to be, like, some sort of, jump storage find, maybe? Potentially. It would be cool to see, but right now, it is currently not possible. Alrighty, so Castle is back in Flipside, and instead of following Merlin upstairs, he's actually going to go downstairs, taking the elevator down, and is going to cook a spicy soup really quick using the fire burst that was picked up in Bestovius' house in 1-1. We're doing this first just because, based on prior knowledge, we know Merlin is going to ask for one once we get to that cutscene, so we're just doing it here to save time.
Oh. Yeah.
Alrighty, so Castle is starting the last main cutscene in this Enter 2 segment, which he's going to wake up Peach, and I'll be taken back to Merlin's house, and Peach will join the party. Peach is a pretty cool character. She can use her parasol to fly over large gaps, as well as also use her parasol to be invincible to enemy attacks. Unfortunately, though, we're likely only going to see her 2 times in this run. We're going to see her in 2-1 and in the final boss fight.
Yeah.
Alright, so Castle is on his way to the Chapter 2 Pure Heart Pillar, and we'll open up the door to 2-1. We can technically get into the pit right now. However, if we don't get the pixel in 2-1, Boomer, it's going to be very, very difficult. Because there are a lot of points in the pit in which we can soft block, lots of things that can go wrong. Alrighty, Castle is on his way into 2-1. And like we said, we are only going to be getting Boomer, and that is it. So there is a trick in any percent in 2-1 called Boomer Skip. However, we're not going to see it here today. Boomer Skip, essentially, if you have a Shell Shock, you can use it, toss it up on a ledge, and it will hit a switch, which opens the final door. However, to obtain Boomer, we technically need to go into 2-2, which loses enough time for Boomer skip to actually be slower in pit percent, because we're only looking to get Boomer. We don't need to complete 2-1 at all. We just need to get Boomer in our party, and I believe talking to Boomer and going through that whole cutscene is actually just barely, like literally 1 second faster. Alrighty, both runners are in 2-1. We actually saw Castle do a trick called Goomba Jump. By jumping on a Goomba at the height of its jump, you can make it up to that ledge with the pipe, which saves a lot of time. You're technically intended to go all the way to the right and go through a bunch of cutscenes, but we can skip all that pretty easily. Castle got a fresh veggie drop, but is going to opt to not get it. I think it only is like a 5 HP heal, which is, you know, healing items are healing items, but it would lose a little bit of time walking back and go and pick it up. So we are getting a little closer to the pit. We're almost there. Castle is about to go get Boomer. A little bit of a gap between these two runners, but again, with pit runs, the lead can change at any point in time. Slopdop gets Goomba Jump as well, very nice. And funny enough, Boomer actually has, like, I think the longest text out of any pixel in the game. I might be wrong on that. I don't know what text, like, Piccolo has, or at least I don't remember. But it's definitely one of the longer ones, just because he asks you a bunch of questions. However, even with that, it is still slightly faster to just get him normally this way. And right after that, you're going to see Castle right here using the return pipe, and is going to be on his way to the pit. We are going to get started here. Alrighty, so we're going to be seeing a trick right before the pit here. Essentially, Castle is going to place down Boomer and then quickly switch to throw, the other pixel, and is going to pick up Boomer. And by jumping and throwing Boomer at a specific point, you can actually toss Boomer up on a ledge that has a switch on it, and it will open the pit for us. It's a little bit of a precise throw. We've seen some runners struggle with it before. But yeah, Castle gets its second try, and we are off into the pit of 100 trials. So, for those of you who have not seen the pit before, it is full of a lot of RNG. It's pretty good RNG right there from Castle. But essentially, there's a lot of RNG elements. Every room that each runner will enter has a different number of enemies, and one of those enemies will have a key that spawns after you kill them. And that key will open the door to get to the next room. So for both these runners, we're just going to see them kill as many enemies as possible, or as fast as possible, rather, and then finding the key and getting to the door. There's a lot of different RNG. Obviously, which enemy has the key, that's RNG. Any item drops that you get are going to be RNG. The entry and exit doors, their placements are RNG. However, certain rooms have pretty common door locations, so you can sort of plan around and strategize for separate rooms. Certain enemy locations will also be random. The one thing that will remain consistent... That was actually a really good level grind right there from Castle with those springs. But the one thing that remains consistent is room layout. So every time that you enter room 2, it's going to have the same exact layout. Every time you enter room like 98, it's going to have the exact same layout. So you could technically, if you had a pretty big brain, you can memorize all the different room layouts and like strategize how to play each room. But there's a lot of rooms in the pit, so it would be a lot of memorization. However, Gurmy, actually, one of our runners for any percent, and he's also a tasser, he's done a task for pit, has a little tool called the pit viewer. You can essentially view each room layout one by one. It's pretty helpful. Slopdop working on this boomer throw right here can be a little tough to get. Castle is a couple rooms into the pit so far. Okay, nice. Slopdop gets the boomer throw, and we'll be into the pit. Castle with a little bit of a lead, but the one cool thing about the pit is that things can change at any point. You never know. So Castle is in room 7 so far, working on these squigs and the springs, and Slop is going to be moving into room number 2. So once again, so Castle's actually already at 60k. Slop will definitely be good. Both these runners did a good job at getting a couple extra points here and there within Chapter 1 and 2-1. And because of that, they didn't have to worry about the 1-1 grind. They definitely don't have to worry about soft logging, so that is good. Love to see that. So Castle is in room 9. Some poison turbals. Okay, well, alright. 2 Shroom Shake drops, that's very, very good. That might be, honestly, that might be all the heals that Castle needs during this run, if he even needs any. That's very, very good. But, yeah, I was about to say, poisonous enemies are extremely likely, if not like 100% likely, to drop a healing item of some sort, even if it is a dried shroom. So if you do get poison at any time in the run, more than likely, you can simply just kill the poisonous enemy, and then you'll be good to go, because it'll drop a heal that you can use to remove the poison. Castle is actually moving into room 12, I believe. Slopdop is still working on the first couple of rooms. Castle's in room 12. Some more Goombas. Something you'll notice, like the first couple of rooms in the pit, first 10, first 20, will have very, very basic enemies. You know, Goombas, Squigs, Squiglets, enemies that you can pretty much easily kill within a couple hits. But as we go on, the difficulty will increase rapidly. Very nice movement there from Slopdop to avoid falling asleep. So I'll do a quick room check. Slopdop is on room 7 with some springs. Gets a long last shake. Pretty nice. Castle is on 13. Looks like the difference is about the same. Slop might have gained like 1 room on Castle. Castle's dealing with these slurps. Does get the key there. Thankfully, you won't have to go all the way up top for that one slurp. Yeah, 14. If you see enemies that have dotted lines around them, like these Goombas, they will essentially flip into 3D along with Mario, which you can use this to your advantage because, as you notice, if you flip in 3D in any pit room, you will just fall straight to the ground. So it can be very useful. It can also be a little bit annoying if you accidentally flip and you don't mean to. Very nice key there for Castle in that boomboxer room. Unfortunately, Slopdop got poisoned, however, as I mentioned earlier, it'll just drop a dried shroom. So no worries there. Another decent key for Castle. A good key for Slop as well. A good way to tell how good your rooms were. If you look in the top right corner of both runners' screens, every time they enter a room, there will be a timer that counts down from 5 minutes. As you see, Slop is on room 11, Castle's on 17. But you can use this timer to tell how good or how bad your room was. And it does differ a little bit per, you know, the type of room that you're entering, but usually if you get anything under a 450, it's really, really fast. And then anything above, like, 430 is not ideal. And then anything above, like, 4 minutes, like if you get to the 3-minute range, you probably had a pretty unfortunate room. Slopdop is on room 13, Castle is on 19. This room was what I was referring to about being a soft lock room. There's a Koopa Troll in this room, which Castle hopefully won't have the RNG for. Okay. Clutched it out with that last squiglet there. Very nice. That Koopa Troll on the bottom, he wouldn't get soft luck because he's at 60k, so he doesn't have to worry about that, but it does take like 6 or 7 hits with Boomer to kill, since we're technically at like pretty low level than what we're meant to be at going into the pit. So Castle does not have a... Oh, he gets a Mighty Tonic. That's nice. It doesn't have a Fire Burst. If you have a spare Fire Burst, you can use it on this room right here with these Spinies. Slop gets a Pow Block, which might be useful. I don't know how useful that can be. There's some rooms I'm sure you can use it. Okay, Castle does get the key there. Kills that last enemy there. Something I notice about Castle every time I watch Castle do a run, he has really good strategy. You might end up seeing him like kill an extra enemy when he doesn't need to. But the truth is that every enemy does count to your level, and to keep up with your level ups all throughout the run, doing that can honestly save you at certain points. So Castle's on the room with some more Cherbils and Fuzzies. Gets a pretty decent key there. Slopdop unfortunately had a bad room there. Looks like Castle is in 24, and Slopdop is on room 17. Slopdop with a very good key to start off here. So those springs, if you hit them once, you'll see you can actually split them up into 3 pieces. And if the spring that you split up into 3 pieces, if it has the key will actually be placed in one of the 3 tiny springs that spawn out. So you actually have to kill all 3 individually. Sometimes they can be a little annoying when that happens. Castle is on the first Daisy room of the run. Daisies are pretty common for being very, very annoying. Thankfully, Slop didn't get Koopa Trolled either. Good to see for both of our runners here today. Hopefully, this Goomba has the key. It does not. That's unfortunate. So, as you see, Castle was up top next to that door. Ideally, if you get up there, you want the enemy that's up there to have the key, because you won't have to flip or use any of the pipes, and ideally, won't have to lose any time on that, but unfortunately, The RNG does not work in your favor sometimes. Now, it looks like Slopdop will be doing the same strat for the Spinies here. So Slopdop is on room 21, heading into room 22. Castle's heading into room 28, I believe. Yeah, 28. So we're seeing a little bit of a steady increase in difficulty with these enemies. But it's going to start getting really, really difficult once we get to, like, probably the 40s, I'd say. Whenever we see the first Clubber room, that's usually when things get a little more difficult. There's a lot of enemies, especially later in the pit, that will do a lot of damage. And if you're not keeping track of your HP, sometimes you can potentially get really, really low. Slop with a nice first key there. Castle is going to kill this Robus down here. It does have the key, thankfully. I believe the door is... Oh, the door's up top. Okay. Slop doing a stylish off the springs. I like to see it. Gets that key. Castle is going to be heading into 31. Slopdop should be in, I think this is 25. So not as much of a difference as we had before, but still Castle with a decent number of rooms lead over Slopdop. Slopdop killing that chain chomp there. That is another soft lock room. If you're not at 60k before that room, you absolutely won't be able to kill that chain chomp. Slopdop is on the Daisy room here. Castle getting out of the Tyloid room. And into the Elongator room. Okay, Castle gets a first key in the Elongator room. I was just about to say, we just saw a match the other day where a runner actually got first keys in both Elongator rooms, which was pretty insane to have that, because both Elongator rooms in this run, I think there's one in the 70s as well, but they have a lot of enemies combined in each room. It's really, really tough to get a first key there. But it is very fast. Saves a lot of time. Slopdop is also hoping that this Goomba has the key, which it does. So it won't have to flip there. Castle with another decent room. Slopdop is on room 27. Castle is on 35. Slopdop with a decent key. Moving ahead. Castle just got the 90k level up, which is very nice. Fortunately, this one enemy is stuck in 3D. That's the worst part about these enemies. Something to note about Hammer Bros, which we'll definitely see later in the run. They spawn on the top level. Their hammer projectiles will just rain down from the sky, and it will be extremely difficult to deal with. Castle gets a decent key on this ninja room here. Slop actually has a pretty decent door spawn here. Sometimes this door can be in the top right, where you have to take the pipe to get to the door. It can be really, really annoying and lose a decent amount of time. So right there on Slopdop's screen, he actually got a Flim spawn. Every 10 rooms, there's a chance that Flim can spawn. He's a bit of a shop dealer. You can get some helpful items, such as, like, heals, or... Oh, speaking of helpful items, Castle gets the Thunder Rage there, which is really good. We'll keep that for 98, probably. These Magikoopas can be a little annoying, though. Their projectiles do 3 damage, which can add up a lot. Alright, so a really good key for Castle there, and he's going to be out heading into 41. 41 is the first Clubba room. Slopdop is on the Elongator room here. A little further behind Castle, but once again, that can change at any point in time. So he's going to be working on these Clubbas here. These Clubbas also do 3 damage, so you see the difficulty increase all throughout the pit. His next level up is going to be at 120k. He does have heals, though. He should be fine. Not an ideal key, but he will be getting out. These Pokies right here. He's down to 6 HP, but he should... I think he should be able to level up before having to use a heal. Slopdop is on 35. Castle will be on 43 here. Slopdop gets the 90k level up. Castle's on the Koopa Striker room, where you can just do this and they'll kick shells into themselves. Slopdop with a first key there on the Ninja room. We should love to see that. So Castle doing a fast strat there. By kicking one of the Koopa Striker shells and then kicking their shell, you can quickly kill them. So a common thing that we'll see throughout this run is we'll see duplicates of enemies all throughout the pit. For example, we just saw in that room Squogs, which are like the 3rd duplicate of Squiglets. So just the more duplicates you see, it's more likely that they have higher defense, higher attack. You know, they're probably a little more difficult to kill. Or for example, with these Tyloids, the yellow ones move really, really fast. Which Castle actually got a very nice key there for that room. Those Tyloid rooms can take a lot of time. Another really good use of a shell there by Castle. If you kick a shell and then flip into 3D, it'll pretty much wipe out all the enemies on the bottom floor, whether they're in 3D or 2D. Onto the Cherble room here. Slopdop is heading into 41. Castle's on 47, but he gets a first key, so... Or like second key, something like that. So really nice. Slopdop gets a horsetail there. Castle is on the next Clubba room, but he gets a first key there. Very nice. That's any Clubba room, if you get a first key, that's going to save you a decent amount of time. Especially the Clubbas in Magiblot, or not Magiblot, the Magikoopa room. That room can stack up on a lot of damage. So really nice past couple of rooms here from Castle. Slopdop having a good pit as well. The commentator does read chat sometimes. What's up, Space Fan? Wow. Dude. Castle's RNG is looking pretty good here. It wasn't too good to start, but has had a couple of first keys in a row. Both these runners are having pretty decent pits, but as of recent, like within the last 10 to 15 rooms, Castle's RNG is looking really good. Another Clubba room though, Clubba and Dry Bones. Actually, it might be better to get a Clubba key here, because this strat, it's a little faster to kill them doing that strat where you just duck jump into them when they're under a ceiling. And it takes 2 hits with Boomer for Dry Bones. Slopdop gets the key on the Tyloid room there. Castle ends up getting the key here. We'll do a quick room check once again. Looks like Slopdop is in 46 right now. Castle is in 55, so a decent lead for Castle here. Castle is down to 9 HP. He's on the Dark Boo room. Dark Boos will fly towards you in 3D and then spawn in 2D. And you can sort of just place down Boomer, wait for them to spawn, and then jump on their head. Slopdop is on the Magikoopa room as well. With 7 HP, he's going to use the Turtley Leaf, which will actually give him a higher defense, so he won't take nearly as much damage here. It's a pretty good play, and gets a good key as well, so he'll be able to keep that Turtley Leaf into the next room. Castle is looking pretty good as well. Castle's next level up is at 160k, which he's getting to pretty quickly. Obviously, some tough rooms are ahead, so. Speaking of tough rooms, Castle's in 58 right now. This is one of the more difficult rooms you're going to see in the entire run. He's actually... Oh! Was almost able to kill the Amazy Daisy there. Unfortunately, it ran away and it will be stuck in 3D. Hopefully, it didn't have the key, though. Which it did not, so you won't have to worry about it. If you get hit by the Amazy Daisy's music note, though, you will take 10 damage. So some Magiblots right here. Just gonna manipulate them to spawn in this corner. Slopdop is down to 5 HP, but this Buzzy Beetle shell will get him very close to the next level up at 120. Castle is also very close to his next level up at 160. But again, he is down to 4 HP, so he'll need to be a little careful depending on which enemies show up. You can take 4 damage pretty easily. Yeah, he's going to use a Shroom Shake just to be absolutely safe. I can't blame him. Slopdop gets the level up. Castle is not able to jump. Okay. Wow, if this Boomboxer doesn't have the key... Okay, thankfully it does. Wow, that was about to be a pretty big time loss. But still, he is not able to jump. He's just going to have to focus on the bottom floor of these enemies right here. Does end up getting the level up. Just going to work on these Dry Bones. Wait for the Dark Boos to spawn. While he is not able to jump. Okay, he gets his ability to jump back, gets the key, and he's out. Those Cursias are not ideal. They can give you some pretty bad curses. That's probably that and the slow one, probably some of the worst. There's also an abilities one where if you get hit by that, you can't flip. Castle getting edge guarded by this boomerang guy. This guy is awesome. Oh my god, dude, the hitbox on that thing pisses me off. Oh my goodness. So Clubbas and boomerang throws. Clubbas, once again, you could just take a lot of damage. Yeah, it's true. Reverse controls. Yeah, that's another bad one. All of them are pretty bad. Thankfully, though, at least in this pit, I don't think we see the flip side Cursia, where if you get hit by it, you'll literally be sent back to flip side. Which is... Honestly, I'm surprised they didn't do that. I think they did in the flop side pit, but I'm not totally sure. I'll give a quick refresh on each runner's screen. Castle is on room 65 right now. Slopdop is making his way into the next room here. Same with Castle. Castle will be going into 66 momentarily, and Slopdop is on 57. So still a decent, like, 8 or 9 room difference here. Slopdop does get a good key. You never know, this could change at any point. I mean, Castle's playing very, very well. And for a decent bit, he was getting some decent RNG. Unfortunately, it's not that way anymore. Your RNG can change at any point. Slopdop is on the Amazy Daisy room, looking to not have the dreaded Amazy Daisy key. He's just going to wait for this music note to spawn. That music note, as I mentioned, does 10 damage, so getting hit by that is pretty dangerous. And unfortunately, he is going to have the Amazy Daisy key. That is tough. So he's going to use Thoreau right here, pick up the Daisy. And by tossing the Daisy in a corner, almost got it. So he's going to have to watch out for this. Okay, nice. Gets the jump there. Castle had a decent, looked like a decent room on the, another elongator room right there. Alright, Slop does get the Amazy Daisy kill. That is an unfortunate key to get, though. That's tough. Castle's down to 6 HP. He's probably going to have to use another heal here, yeah. His next level up is at 200k, so... Koopa Strikers here. These guys will do 5 damage instead of the previous Koopa Striker room, so it can be a little crazy, a little hectic. So Slopdop is in room 61, and Castle, I think, is in room 70 now. Yep, so he'll be heading into 71. Decent 10-room difference here. So one whole pit floor ahead of each other. With a really nice key there for Castle to start off. Some Jobuses right here. Nice first key once again. A really good start to the 70s. Some more Cursias. Just going to flip into 3D and let all of them fall. I think he might have been trying to do a Super Boomer there. Yeah, I think that's what he's setting up for. So unfortunately, he's not getting it. Let's see if we can get it this time. Nice. Very nicely done. So that's Super Boomer strat. If you flip at a very specific time while the bomb is flashing before it explodes, you can actually wipe out an entire floor of enemies, or at least get a boomer hit on all of them, which in turn will, since they're Cursias, they'll die instantly, which is really, really cool looking. But again, it is a little precise to do. Slopdop having a tough time on this Tyloid room here. Castle's on the Rough Puff room, gets a really nice key. And is going to be out very quickly. Castle's having a pretty solid run. I don't think it's PB pace. I mean, he knows better than I do, but still, this is a very, very good time. Or on pace for it, rather. Slop with a first key on 66. And is on the elongated room here in 67. And Castle is on 77 here. Just fighting these Magiblots. Slop gets the key. Unfortunately didn't get that lock jump. That lock jump's really difficult to do from the middle of the room. But he did get a good key there. So 68. I believe Castle's going to be heading into 79, I think. Or 78. Slop had another good key there. Castle gets the 200k level up. So he's looking pretty good right now. Honestly, for all things considered, with the less than ideal 1-1 grind, this is a pretty good level to be at. Especially right before this room. Since he's at 200k, he can insta-kill these enemies now. So it's looking pretty good. Slopdop is close to the 160k level up. So we are exactly 10 rooms apart. 71 and 81. For Slop and Castle, respectively. Slop will be, I think, actually heading into 73, I believe. Had two relatively quick rooms. Yeah, and Castle's in 82. The 80s can be pretty tough, but Castle's having a good first rooms in the 80s so far. Is on 83. Slop with a very good key there. Unfortunately, getting blocked by these enemies is Slopdop. That's unfortunate. So 84. 84 can be a little unfortunate. Castle cannot get this duck jump. Okay, he does. So Castle's ideally looking for one of these Spaniards to have the key here. Or else it will be a little bit of a time loss, which unfortunately looks that way. These Schlurps have... you have to feed Boomer to them 2 times before they die. Thankfully, it's the first one. That's not that bad. Getting a last key in that room can lose a little bit of time, though. Castle's on room 85 here. with the poisonous pokies. And he does get poisoned, but once he kills this enemy, he's going to use his Shroom Shake, and he's going to get a fresh veggie, which is actually 10 HP. Which is pretty good, honestly. Oh, and he does get poisoned again, but he gets a dried shroom, so he can just use that. It's the one nice thing about poisonous enemies, even though it's really annoying to get poisoned. Alright, so he is going to utilize his Mighty Tonic here on this room. This is Magic Koopas and Koopa Trolls. He'll be able to one-hit kill everything in this room. I think with Boomer, we can, yeah, insta-kill the Koopa Trolls here, which is ideal. I think it normally will take, like, 2 or 3 hits for Koopa Trolls in this room. Fortunately, still got close to a last key there, but not as bad as having to do that room without a Mighty Tonic there. So Slopdop is on 79 here. Slop actually had a decent 70s, which is pretty good. Castle almost done with the 80s here. Is on a Ninja Room 88. And some I didn't think, I don't think I mentioned about ninjas, but they can, there's like a 50-50 chance whether they actually die when you jump on them. Sometimes they'll just turn into bombs for seemingly no reason, and then they'll respawn. It's very annoying, just like that. But Castle with a very nice job getting that key there. And Slopdop is going to be on 81, and I believe Castle is going to use a heal. He's a little low. He's got a ways till his next level up, so he might have to be taking a little careful here. But Castle is going to use the Shell Shock on this room, and we'll get a very, very nice level up here. And he's almost pretty much right there to his next level up as well. He's going to get 300k. Alrighty, so Castle is on the final 10 rooms. This is room 91 with a couple Jobuses. The 90s have a couple simple rooms, but also have some really, really difficult rooms filled with a lot of enemies. Slopdop with a good key right there. I'll do a quick room check. The Castle is on 92, I believe. And Slopdop is on 83. With some low HP. He's going to be down to 4. His next level up is 200k. So as mentioned, he does have a little bit of a way to go. Castle going for the Super Boomer. Almost gets it. This Ninja is not being nice at all. Wow, that same Ninja just turned into a bomb like 3 times in a row. Love to see that. Absolutely love it. Alright, Slopdop is on 84. Castle's on 94. Still a decent 10-room lead for Castle. Pretty consistently all throughout the pit. I think he started off with like a 7-room lead, and it's increased to a 10-room lead, so a really solid pit here from Castle. Just looking to finish out. Slopdop is looking to hopefully get a level up here pretty soon. Or a much, much needed item drop. We'll see. Castle got a very, very good key right at the start of this room. which saves a lot of time. Gonna be going in 96. Just dealing with a couple boomerang bros, fire bros. Slopdop is looking to be as careful as he possibly can on this room. Looks like he is going to use the POW block. I don't know how... this should kill the... oh, I missed the first 2 hits there. We'll see how much damage it does. I don't actually know if this does damage. Oh, wow, it will. Wow, that's huge, actually. Oh, and he gets the level up, dude. That's really clutch. Nice job. Really good job by Slopdop there. Castle's using the Thunder Rage on this room right here, 98, just to kill a bunch of red jumps back to back. And is on the final room of the pit, room 99. Just a bunch of Magiblots that you have to kill. Just gonna wait for them to spawn here, which they just will not spawn. Pretty unfortunate. If they don't spawn, it's more likely that you have to go to the other side of the room to have them spawn in. Does get the key, though. And that'll be it. So it's not over yet. Castle will have to beat the final boss in the pit, which is Ractil. It's pretty much a carbon copy of Fractil, which we saw early in the run. Slopdop is in 89 right now. Opts to not use the Shell Shock, and actually it pays off. He does get the key. Slopdop is also in the last couple of rooms here. Castle gets the nice timed 3 damage jump there. He's going to start off, I believe, yeah, he doesn't have any fire bursts or anything, so he's going to have to pick up a bunch of these enemies. Gonna have to wait for some more to spawn. These Rackles can do, they can toss some projectiles, which will do 10 damage if you get hit, but thankfully it takes a while for them to shoot those projectiles. Got a little close there, but he's just going to flip to Peach, and by floating over using Peach, you can just land on the antenna 2 more times and get the last 20 hits. And that will be it. Slopdop is on 95 right now. So one more glide here with Peach. And he missed the antenna. That is unfortunate, but okay. You can just beat Ractil the normal way just by grabbing a bunch of enemies here. And that'll be it. Alrighty. GG's. I'm sure Castle's really happy about just floating through the antenna at the end, but hey, that is pit percent. And yeah, that's going to be it. He's going to pick up the final pixel that we get in this run, which is one of the best pixels in the game, actually. Dashel allows us to run very fast. Huge GG's. That was a very good showcase by Castle. And a good run by Slop as well. He's finishing up right now. Should be in like the last 3 or 4 rooms here. Alrighty, and with that, boom, 126.39 for Castle. It was a 126.44 on his timing. GG's. That was a very good showcase of pit percent. Slopdop is finishing up the last couple of rooms here, but Castle has secured himself a spot in a what's going to be a pretty crazy matchup. He doesn't know his opponent yet. We're going to see one more match tomorrow afternoon, I believe, to determine that. But Castle will be in Winners Finals. In that Winners Finals matchup, Slopdop is using a Shell Shock here. That is sick. That's awesome. I've never seen that done before. That's cool. It's still going. Okay. Okay. Yeah, he's got a heal. Yeah, huge GG's to both runners. Slopdop is not out of the tournament yet. Yeah, here, let me report the scores here really quickly. So yeah, Castle will be in Winners Finals. That match will take place sometime within the next 2 weeks. I think there's a 2-week scheduling period. And he will face the winner of tomorrow's matchup, which is going to be potentially one of the best matchups in the tournament, I think. It's going to be Stevie versus Teddy. Teddy obviously is a 2-time tournament champion looking to get his 3rd title, and Stevie is a top runner as well, looking to get his 1st title, and it's going to be anyone's match. I really do think it's going to be a lot of fun to watch. Teddy got a 122 in like his 1st match. We'll see if he gets that RNG again. Yeah, Ben, there's an advantage. You basically, so if you win loser's bracket, you have to get a bracket reset in grand finals. So let's say hypothetically like Castle and Teddy play in the finals, or in winners finals, right? And Castle wins. So Castle is, he wins the winners bracket and, you know, gets his spot in grand finals. If he wins one match, or like if Castle wins one match in grand finals, he wins the whole thing. But the winner of the losers bracket, whoever that ends up being, will have to win 2 matches in a row against Castle back to back. So grand finals will potentially be like a 3-hour stream, if we see that. So yeah, there is like a little bit of advantage to winning the winners bracket, which I threw in for this one. We haven't done it before, but I figured since we have a lot of entrants, I'll throw it in. Yeah, it's a full double LM tournament, so it should be really cool. And it does give some incentive for Castle in the next match, because he does have a major advantage heading into grand finals if he ends up winning winners finals. Slopdop just picked up the projectile there, which is pretty cool. If you want to get the undo, I'll go ahead and put the bracket in chat if anyone wants to take a look. And be sure to give a follow to both of these awesome runners, Castle and Slopdop, 2 of the best pit runners out there. GG's to both runners. Slopdop will have another shot in loser's bracket. Slopdop will play... Oh, hang on. Slop will play the winner of Soaring Sloth versus Hydra King. So, we're going to see a couple, not as many matches, because we're getting towards the end of the tournament, but some more higher quality matches, which with some pretty intense competition. Should be a lot of fun. Thank you, Castle, for the raid. Alrighty, Slopdop has finished up Ractail. Just about done with the pit. Thank you all for watching. GG's once again to Castle and Slop. Castle will be playing sometime again in the next 2 weeks. against either Stevie or Teddy. We should be back tomorrow. Yeah, I'll definitely be able to restream the match tomorrow. I probably won't be commentating it, so I'll try to find some other commentators who are interested. But a 138.28 on Slopson. It was a 131.27 on his timer. So GG's. Great match to both of you guys.